Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Be My Own Boss podcast. I'm your host, Mike Hruby, and this is episode 31, and we've got something I think you'll find very interesting today. It's great news, if you think so, for independent contractors, and it has to do with the national stage in California, and it's chock full of famous names. So, I want to welcome you. Thanks to the feedback efforts of Traveler. I can't hear. Looking for that, Traveler. Thank you. Let's see. I'm getting the mic. I'm showing the mic. Let's see. Mic aux. I'm on. Can you hear me now? A little better? Anyway. All right. Ears, eyes, ears. I think that means welcome to live chat. Looks fine, and I can hear you. Thank you so much, Traveler, for that feedback. Okay, back to the main story. We've talked a lot about laws against independent contracting and threats, and there has been very little opportunity to talk about specific opportunities for independent contractors, and I'm delighted that some of the tectonic plates have shifted over this past weekend, giving us what I think is a great opportunity, if you guys agree, to make ourselves heard in a new way, in a new forum in Washington, a way we have not had access to for the last 4 years for sure, and maybe even longer. So, again, looking for feedback whenever you get it. If you have questions, put them in caps, and I will try to answer them as we go. But I think we've got a nice, interesting story to tell. Last Friday, January 10th, President Trump met with Congressman Kevin Kiley, who represents California along the Nevada line. Now, Trump had already met with the Republican caucus, so was this just another meeting of a congressman with the president? It was a Friday. Then Saturday, Kiley issued a revealing statement, which is, I think, so important that I'm going to put it on under my document camera and actually get it. If you're watching on a screen big enough, you might be able to read it, but I'm going to read it aloud because I think it is loaded with things for ICs to think about. So let me do that. And the lights are on, and I'm going to transition over. I'm hoping you can still see me, so you can hear me, but you won't see me at this moment. I'm going to read it. It said, "Yesterday I met with President Trump." This is a Saturday tweet. "I am convinced we have an opportunity to bring sanity back to California." That is not a mild statement. "And render Newsom irrelevant." Where in California do you ever hear that? Newsom is very relevant because he is trying to crush all the normal things that people want to enjoy. Food, water, housing, their view, whatever. Money, energy. Okay. He continues, "The president understands how insane water policies and insane fire policies helped create the nightmare in LA. The fires are still burning. In these and many other areas, such as the sanctuary state, electric mandates, high-speed rail," he's calling them all out, "health care for illegal immigrants, homelessness, and crime, we can fight for the people of California by fighting against their corrupt and incompetent governor." Now, I have read that many times, and I believe that it's absolutely earth-shaking for the country, for California, for independent contractors. And I think there's, just like with so many other situations during the Trump pre-inaugural period, I think this is very profound. But I want you to think about that because I'm asking you this question. Do you think these announcements herald a radical solution for California in the U.S.? A congressman and the president calling the nation's largest state governor corrupt and incompetent? I think that is a big deal. And I believe you should too, but I want you to think about it. Is it a genius move for Trump and Kiley? And why should you care on a program for independent contractors? Why should you care about this? Well, first of all, Newsom has put $50 million in California state money into Trump-proofing California. Well, that's a challenge. And everybody who reads political tea leaves knows that he's thrown the glove down. He wants a duel. He's asking for it. So what if Trump and Kiley last Friday discussed how to put all California's spending on a very short leash and make its governor either govern right or get out? Now, how about that? California is effectively bankrupt. Every time they do anything, they have to get more money from the U.S. They've spent their money on ridiculous things. Everybody in California knows this. There's no water where you need it. There's no electricity when you need it. They're trying to get rid of all the gas, even though you need it. We've got a single-party government that is completely collapsing. They're overrun with DEI. They've got 3 of the world's best ports, which are strategic for many countries, and they'd love to take over California. And you've got bales of immigration. Plus, with the money flows during the last 4 years, Americans nationwide are paying for California's decline. We're actually facilitating it, and patience is getting very short. Now, one way, you can't ever know what people's motives are. Even they often don't know them. But you can look at their interests. People have interests. You have interests. I have interests. Trump and Kiley have interests. And other people often can understand them. And in fact, Americans, as a rule, understand other people's interests very well. That's why the public is no longer being hoodwinked by so many of the fake news and the shams and all that, is that they've detected that the other guy has an interest in lying to them, and they're done with that. They've detected the interest. Both men have common interests, and they could work well together. They both prefer a free market approach. Well, that's good, because independent contractors are in the free market. They both like to reduce energy costs and taxes to stimulate economic growth. The lower taxes and energy costs go, the more jobs like yours and mine will expand. They want to limit government regulations that allow businesses and individuals like us more freedom to operate. They want much stricter border controls. They want to promote security measures that will manage legal immigration, not just put the whole thing on autopilot and walk away. And they want to focus on constituents who feel overlooked by traditional political narratives. That's where Kiley comes from in California, the left-out rural areas. He is fully aware that rural areas depend on independent contracting and low-priced energy and good delivery of goods and services. And both Trump and Kiley sense that California threatens improvements nationwide. That $50 million to Trump-proof California is also $50 million that Newsom thinks will go to Trump-proofing the United States. So it's a very much of an aggressive move, not defensive. So, okay, those are the interests they have in common. How about the interests where they are different? They've always been the most fire-prone state in the nation, in the Union. Yes, that's true, but they have water and they have it in the wrong places, and that's what we're talking about at the moment. But I agree with you. Trump's policies often focus on broader national concerns, such as immigration reform on a federal level and on international trade. But if you watch Kiley's speeches on X, Twitter, and you hear his statements over and over, see his speeches on YouTube, he is much more centered on California-specific, meaning district-level challenges, like the impact of state taxation and local regulations and proper operations of government. Trump's style, as you all know, is much more demonstrative and confrontational, some people call it, and open and enthusiastic and MAGA and yeah, go for it. Whereas Kiley is like Mr. Businesslike. He emphasizes bipartisanship, makes logical arguments, states things beautifully. It's really a treat listening to him open up an argument on some topic, because he informs you with these perfect sentences that you really learn something from. So Kiley emphasizes bipartisanship, as I said, and he foresees collaboration. He was a good collaborator within the state legislature. So the two of them on the areas where they have different approaches could work as a good cop, bad cop duo, and those are very effective. I would say that they have big rewards. It will come to them if they do work this way. Now, here is where independent contractors come in. Of all the 535 members of Congress, Kevin Kiley, who we're talking about, is number one in Congress for understanding independent contractors' needs. It was he alone who repeatedly stood up to Newsom in the legislature while Lorena Gonzalez was messing around. I'm sorry, I have not transitioned. I'm going to come right back to that thought. I'm going to go to my host-only seam and transition and reappear for you. It's me. You can turn off the document camera, Mike. While everyone else was, in California's Democratic state government was praising AB 5, Kevin Kiley was opposing it, fought it, documented it, brought people in as witnesses, and was consistent in challenging California's Governor Newsom for in the ineffective and the counterproductive aspects of the AB 5 rule. That AB 5 reclassified independent contractors. Many of you will remember those arguments. It said, nah, they're not independent at all. They're employees. And millions of people, usually understated in the press, millions of people were unable to continue their current work even after 100 occupations were exempted from this rule. The rule still stands. In California, most of the major industries rely heavily on independent contracting. Movies and entertainment, transportation. You're in the transportation business if you're gig driving. Software, defense, agriculture, pharmaceuticals, rural medicine, government, and healthcare. These are all big users of independent contractors because they're run on a project basis. And freelancer support helped re-elect President Trump. Kevin Kiley knows all this. So he would likely be close to Trump if they were to work on the Newsom project, and he's in a position to do us a great deal of good, probably better than anyone else. I don't think Elon understands and Vivek understands the absolute crucialness to the American economy of independent contracting for anyone who wishes to do so. So politically, Trump and Kiley understand that California Governor Gavin Newsom is totally dangerous to their mission, to their goals, to their values, and to their constituents, all of them. Trump has 330 million constituents. Kiley has, 700,000 and climbing, maybe more if he does this. Now, in California, so you could say, well, maybe he's just a congressman. No, in California, Newsom fought, Kiley fought Newsom for 6 years during Kiley's 3 terms in the California Assembly. He was nonstop in opposition. Kiley knows the weak points in both the California budgeting and in Gavin Newsom that could change Newsom's perspective and behavior. He knows it in a way that Trump is simply not familiar. Trump goes at the stuff we can see, the stuff he can sense, and Newsom knows where the plugs and valves and piping is. Trump and Kiley would love, if you look at their interests, love to cut Newsom out of the California and national political equations. And financing is the simplest tool for the job. It's an immediate need. Gavin is broke. So with what would they do? Well, they would trade basically. They would condition financing of whatever California requests on a very much a case-by-case basis, so don't assume anything, and assume that there'll be tremendous demands placed on California in advance and in particular for spending transparency. Elon would look spending transparency in California, spending border control, broad energy deregulation. Gavin will throw up. He hates this kind of thing. Broader water availability and shifting social values to fundamentals and away from, politically correct, we'll call it. Elon would look over Kiley's and Trump's shoulder and say, put all the expenditures that California does, force them to put all the expenditures and exactly where the money went and for which a budget account and where it came from, and put that all in a blockchain and put every transaction up online. It will transform California, it'll transform Washington, and it'll transform every other state too. So there's a lot of leverage available, possibly, if they go ahead and do this, to Trump and to Kiley. So operationally, Kiley will be very tightly linked to Trump. They'll be talking about this all the time. And that makes Kiley independent contractors' best single avenue for national and state legislation. So we're going to need to focus on Kiley. And what you can do right now is watch Kiley like a hawk to see Kiley and Trump, but mostly you'll see Kiley, see what happens that he's doing, and we're going to have to get our message of freedom for freelancers, freedom to be an independent contractor, and to be self-employed. We need to get the message to Kiley so he can tell Trump, I am getting barrelfuls of emails, messages, online, letters, texts, whatever, and make sure that Kiley recalls how intense this battle is in our minds. So let me wrap up my comments and go to your questions and just say, so we've got 4 famous men in the spotlight and 3, that's including Johnson. I forgot to mention Mike Johnson's in on this. 3 might be uniting to exclude the 4th. So is it a genius move? Well, you'd be the judge, but I think so. Is it great for freelancers? Again, you be the judge, but I think so. Now, we'll go to the comments and see what you think. Thanks for this. Love to see what you guys are up to. Go gig it. Yeah, you're welcome, Ron. Great top. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like this. It's very exciting for me on everyone's behalf, especially you guys. One of the things these guys, people often think when they're just out there like I am, just out there. They think like nobody hears me, but in fact, Washington is very sensitive, and they hear as much as they possibly can. Do they act on it? Mostly no. They're looking for threats. They're looking for changes. They're looking for people who can hurt them. They're looking for people who can help them, but those are mostly in Washington. So outside, it's mostly threats. So they've got their ears, wide open, listening. To me, this is one of the best things because this will change the dialogue about independent contractors. There are a lot of people that are going to, they're planning on going to Washington. They're going to negotiate something for independent contractors. And I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty skeptical because everybody in Washington, they either want to put the issue behind them or they're pro-Democrat, pro-control of the economy. And out here, it's different. So we've got to bring the outside in there. And right now, I still think that Kiley's the best avenue. We've tried to approach the Trump campaign on 3 different campaigns. We haven't gotten through. It doesn't mean he's not interested. Doesn't mean he didn't hear it. He's pretty good. But when China's trying to take over a state or something, when all this stuff's happening, nice little independent contractors, we're kind of on the back burner. So this is a chance to get right next to the front burner. And I think this is a great opportunity for both men, and I think it's a great opportunity for us. So another opportunity, I see we're gaining viewers. If you think the meeting between President Trump and Kevin Kiley in Congress is important, this will be something you'll want to go back and take another look. While we're waiting for questions, I want to bring to your attention the Mike Johnson. And Speaker Mike Johnson has had kind of a rough spell in Congress. He's getting punched from both sides. And this morning, a report online said that yesterday, Johnson was quoted walking through the halls of Congress. He said, "I think there should probably be conditions on federal aid to California. That's my personal view," he said. And that was stated on January 13th. That's a powerful statement. We're putting pressure on conditions on Biden hasn't put any conditions on money. He's just shoveled it out. And you know this as well as I do. So now all of a sudden we have a Republican speaker with a very slim margin saying a couple days after Trump and Kiley met that we're going to consider putting conditions on that aid. You betcha. Ask any average citizen the question, do you think the U.S. government should just give money to California to solve its problems? And people will say, no, not without, and then they'll list some sort of condition. So it's it's one of those things they don't vote on because they know how we'd all answer. Anyway, so the trio that could work together would be Trump, Johnson, and Kiley. And that's, I think, a great opportunity for Be My Own Boss legislation, which is very compact And that could slip into an authorization bill or a budget bill. And it could fit into something that had to do with reducing regulations or taxes or energy costs in California. And just slip in a little bill which would completely separate independent contractors as self-employers from employees, and do it without coercing a single person to do anything different or take anything away from someone who didn't want it. So we've been at this, for almost 5 years with Be My Own Boss, and suddenly we're seeing an opportunity that we haven't seen before, is to have the president's ear, a president with interests well in common with gig drivers and professionals and consultants and experts and emergency services people, healthcare, rural nursing, moms at work. They now have a potential avenue for getting their way, and getting their voices heard and their way in Congress. So it would be great. So we're at 27 minutes. I want to thank you all very much. If you have suggestions, you can put them in the chat, or I'll pick it up later. You can always reach me at Be My Own Boss Podcast at gmail.com and offer suggestions. Traveler, thanks very much. You're my man on the spot, and I appreciate the feedback. Guys, I'm getting better, honest to God. I'm getting better with OBS. I have my microphone with me, thanks to Traveler, and I only left the document camera on the stage because I didn't realize I was off it. Anyway, thank you all very much. This has been fun, and we'll see you soon. Next episode, maybe we'll throw in a freebie in the meantime, but next week, Tuesday at 2 Eastern. Thank you very much. We don't have music this week because we're going to transition, but anyway, let's see. So I'm going to transition out, and thank you all, and we'll bring this to a close.